Elon Musk's vision is much bigger than we all thought and can even imagine. This weekend, he shared two very big new plans he hadn't shared in detail before. First, it's now been revealed, and Elon confirmed that secretly it was a new version of Grok, what some were calling the mystery AI model, which shocked many when it took real money and invested it in the stock market. This version handily outperformed all the other models. Second, after a number of media outlets reported that SpaceX is raising money at an $800 billion valuation and that it might go public late next year, Elon denied it was raising money. He also clarified that NASA represents less than 5% of revenue, and it is Starlink that is by far the largest contributor to revenue. After ARK Invest weighed in with the valuation model, Elon said that SpaceX valuation will have another major additional factor: space-based AI data centers. He then shared exactly how big and what the plan is. Be prepared to be very surprised. We got Jeff Lutz here with us today. He's a multi-decade supply chain executive and chief quality officer. He's now CEO of his own high-tech manufacturing consulting firm. Welcome, Jeff. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, it's a pretty big topics to go through. Let's break it down.
Yeah. So this one I did not know about, and I just found out about it. This guy, Wes Roth, said, holy crap, this mystery AI model might crash the stock market. It took some digging, but I figured out what this model is. It's not what you think. So there's this game that was being played by a variety of different LLMs, and they would actually take real money, invest it in the real stock market, and see who best performs. And then there's one here that is just completely outperformed. This is real world. This is like in real world. And it's like it's working really well. Elon said the mystery AI model is an experimental version of Grok 4.2. Tesla Economics asked, so the experiment included taking money and investing in the stock market, and it outperformed all the other models? And he said yes. So this is just crazy. Let's watch.
Okay, so imagine this. We take $320,000 and we let a favorite of our chatbots, aka large language models, just invest it for us. And they're investing real money in real stocks that are traded on the real NASDAQ exchange. So they're buying and selling Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, Palantir, Amazon, and others. I'll cut to the chase. There might be a company with a mystery AI model, this one right here, that might have cracked the code. This is the first time I saw anything published about this approach. This competition just ended a few hours before I recorded this. And if this is the real deal, and it kind of sounds like it is, well, then things are about to get interesting.
This is real world, right? That's another thing about real world AI. This is like AI actually behaving in the real world, impacting the real world.
Is this the infinite money glitch early?
Could be.
Can I get a copy of this? No, yeah, no, I mean, be interesting to see how it does in a real bear market. But yeah, it's very interesting. There are going to be so many problems that AIs are going to be able to solve. This is why when people start talking about AI bubbles, I just laugh, because all we have are some fairly basic chatbots in Tesla self-driving cars, which are amazing. We haven't cracked any major diseases yet. We haven't figured out investing and money management yet. We haven't changed the education system and transformed it. We haven't done a number. They're nowhere in manufacturing with AI. So there's just so much more room to go, and it's beyond me. But this whole thing of Grok 4.2 doing this is pretty mind-blowing. This could really drive a lot of attention and eyeballs in this space. Now, these models keep leapfrogging each other too in various aspects and performance. So if they start training and start focusing on this area, maybe there'll be some leapfrogging back and forth, but you can see where this is going.
Except I will say that I know that Elon has from the beginning said that, what's most important is discovering the world, right? The unanswered questions of the world. He, because of his background in manufacturing, he wants these AIs to discover a new material, new element, new metals. Hasn't done that yet. And what if it does one day?
It will.
Right? Yeah. And I'm saying that that's the difference in focus of what Elon wants and why he's building his AIs versus the others.
In manufacturing, we are constantly mixing materials to enable certain trade-offs. It could be a resin and glass filled mixture. It could be a different grades and strains in performance of stainless steel, aluminum. Lots of work in metallurgy, lots of work in this space. And right now, everything's, is manually, not saying manually done, but there are algorithms running to drive some of these new formulations. But now, what if you could put an AI behind it? What if the AI could be better than these models? Just think about things like making cameras and making displays and making the various glass shapes and lens and so forth. There's so many different areas where an AI can come in and transform for cost, transform for process time, transform for even the elimination of like, could you eliminate a certain process?
Yeah.
And AI could, so the possibilities are endless. That's why I said it's nowhere really in manufacturing yet. And that's why it's going to be explosive and take, really take the stage there. But you need people, you need practitioners that are going to grab it, pull it in, figure out how to train it, and figure out how to get it to do meaningful things.
In the previous episode, you kind of hinted and talked about it. Can you expand a little more of how you see, because right now we're talking about Grok, we're talking about XAI's AI, but we know, hopefully, it's going to be used for Tesla. And Tesla has its own AI, and they're going to share knowledge with each other. Can you see how Tesla as a company, SpaceX as a company, could actually take this and leapfrog other businesses because they've taken advantage of this, like all the different ways, maybe even management, as you said, reusing parts. You talk a lot about automating QA because you got vision and you can actually just visually inspect something, or you talked about last week as well, or yesterday, about how it's what is it, the automatically check, like there's software that actually checks itself as it's built and as the parts are built.
There's Herbert, the answer is the possibilities are endless. You could have AI in the product development phase. So how many different front casting designs are needed from design 1 to mass production? Is that number today 18, or is that number 10? Whatever that number is, can an AI do it in 2? And if an AI can do it in 2, you're going to be getting to market faster in a lot of different areas, and you're going to have less product development costs. And then when you get in the factory, the possibilities are endless. Can an AI optimize the total process time of a manufacturing station? Can it make it progressively faster? Can an AI figure out upstream bottlenecks? Can an AI predict upstream bottlenecks? Can an AI do phase containment of defects in a workstation versus passing it down? Can an AI at a later workstation look at the mechanical construction of the device from previous images from a previous workstation and prevent that product from leaving that workstation purely on optics alone and not on any functional test? The opportunities and possibilities are endless, but an AI has got to get it moving through the factory faster. It's got to get you eliminating and simplifying processes, and it's got to be able to prevent defect and scrap creation. This is where a lot of money goes to die and just gets lit on fire. And finally, if an AI can predict upstream bottlenecks, and eventually can an AI start predicting demand? So can I be building the right cars for the right location, and therefore manage my headcount, manage my labor efficiency better, so I have greater utilization, better fixed cost absorption? So really the possibilities are endless, and this work is just getting started, to be honest with you.
Jeff, I think I've been asking you to please write up a report, do a show just on this, how AI can improve manufacturing, because you are a manufacturing expert, you are a consultant, and you said,
yeah, this ain't free TV.
It's not free TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's, you should, why don't you do a whole, come on, Tesla's advantage on how they could use AI.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Please, because there's a lot, right? And you're only sharing just a little bit to us. Okay, fine.
You know what? There's a lot of work to be done in this space. I'm not claiming I have all the answers.
No, I
have a lot of ideas, but you have to get people that understand how the original manufacturing environment was created, Right now, we have a lot of people in the United States that never grew up in a factory, that never worked in a factory, that never did engineering in a factory. Thank goodness for companies like Tesla, like Rivian, quite frankly, and for others that have, started these new operations here. And you have to, of course, the legacy automakers as well. But we need more manufacturing on short here. But where does this all go? We're not going to beat China by just buying a bunch of robots and putting them on a manufacturing line, because they've already done that. And they can make those robots cheaper. Okay. And they can install them and they can maintain them cheaper because their labor's cheaper. So we have to do something fundamentally different. And that's where I think AI in manufacturing comes in. That's where I think humanoids come in. A well-designed AI-driven humanoid with useful hands and that can do useful work and that could take the training curve and down and the time. This is where I think the U.S. has a very special opportunity. And you've seen now the Secretary of Commerce do this outreach to robotics suppliers.
Yeah.
And they really need they really need to shepherd this through, because this could be the CHIPS Act and everything else on steroids if we get this right.
Good. What we're talking about today is like real world AI, right? I think most of the Tesla investors, we kind of understand what that means. We think of autonomy, self-driving cars. We think of robots, real world AI. Now, AI can actually invest in the stock market. AI can actually run businesses. And then eventually AI is going to actually impact manufacturing. And that's not talked enough about. You have brought it up several times where Tesla can use AI to completely just reinvent their manufacturing to even be faster and better than anyone else out there. And that is,
I believe they are. I believe they've started, and they're only showing us what they want to show us. Like they're showing us the car autonomously leave. They're showing their product put itself in distribution. So what else are they doing that they're not showing? If I were them, I wouldn't show any. Just beyond the car driving itself out is fine. Other than that, there's no reason to show anything.
All right, let's talk SpaceX. So this weekend, a number of media outlets started reporting things about SpaceX. They said SpaceX is kicking off a secondary share sale that would value it at $800 billion, surpassing OpenAI's the most valuable U.S. private company. SpaceX in talks for $800 billion valuation ahead of potential 2026 IPO. This one here, SpaceX tells investors it's aiming for late 2026 IPO. So Elon replied, where are we going here? I won't go through this right now. Said this, there has been a lot of press claiming SpaceX is raising money at $800 billion, which is not accurate. SpaceX has been cash flow positive for many years and does periodic stock buybacks twice a year to provide liquidity for employees and investors. So SpaceX is not raising money. The valuation of $800 billion is probably accurate, but they're not raising money. And every twice a year, they do go and value themselves so that they can allow employees, investors to sell stocks, and then SpaceX will buy it back from them. Valuation increments are a function of progress with Starship and Starlink and securing this global direct-to-cell spectrum that greatly increases our addressable market. And one other thing that's arguably most significant by far. So this $800 billion valuation is very important. Not important, but it's notable because that is the price that OpenAI was rumored to be at, and they are claimed to be like the highest valued private company in the world. Well, SpaceX would then be the highest valued company in the world. But he then goes on to explain all the things that Tesla's doing or SpaceX is doing that is even bigger. And he talks about, before he does that, he started talking about that, there's another thing he wanted to clarify because a lot of people said NASA funded SpaceX. It's not true. NASA, he's got great fondness for them. They constitute less than 5% of the revenue next year. It's Starlink is the by far largest contributor revenue. So just 5% comes. So some people have claimed SpaceX gets subsidized by NASA. This is absolutely false. The SpaceX team won the NASA contracts because we offer the best product at the lowest price, both best product and lowest cost. With regard to astronaut transport, SpaceX is currently the only option that passes NASA safety standards.
Yeah, these are just outrageous, ridiculous conversations that are put out in the media. it's a litmus or IQ test. It's sorting people into, if you believe this, then you're this. And people just have to critically think. And you don't necessarily, these are publicly available facts. You don't have to believe Elon, you don't have to believe somebody else on the side. You just go look up the data independently and draw the right conclusions. But what he's saying about SpaceX, and to me, what the key nugget here is, SpaceX is a revenue and value multiplier, an exponential multiplier. Look what it did for Starlink. The fact that you have the ability of the access to build this many satellites and put them in. Remember, Tesla has an operation building all of these satellites. Okay, they don't talk about this, and the ability to transport them and get them into space. And now you've set up this massive multiplier. Do you have the replacement for a global and potentially interglobal universal network for communications? And where does this go after this? And then we're going to start talking about this other topic and other opportunity. But SpaceX unlocks, because the fact that, Elon joked like it's nice to have a rocket company when you have all these endeavors in space. It is a revenue and earnings multiplier that I think it's going to be actually difficult to value. I don't where you put the ceiling on some of these things with Starlink and what it's going to be capable of. Right now, Starlink's this nice, it gives you access to the internet at very high speeds, very good quality at low populous areas of the world. And quite frankly, at populous areas of the world too. What's going to happen when it starts doing more and more, having more and more capability that the current terrestrial cellular networks have? What does this mean for all of those companies? And what does it mean for its valuation? But quite frankly, there's a convergence happening, and Elon talked about it in the investors meeting. He's hinted about it in posts and so forth. And this convergence is real between his AI assets, his space assets, and his, call it engineering, hardware manufacturing assets, whether it's building cars, robots, or energy. And all these things are going to have to converge, and it may not all be on Earth.
So Tesla, how does Tesla play into this? We're going to talk about, Elon gave a lot more detail about what space-based AI is going to look like. And it's going to be massive, and that's what he was explaining there. And then he expands on it. But Tesla is going to provide maybe the solar panels. They're going to provide the mega packs, and more importantly, they're going to provide the chips and the GPUs. Those are the things that are going to be incredibly lucrative for Tesla investors. But also, I just want to remind folks, Elon actually did say that just last month at the shareholder meeting, he says, I want to try to figure out some way for Tesla shareholders to invest in SpaceX. I've been giving a lot of thought to how to give people access to SpaceX stock. Maybe at some point, SpaceX should become a public company, despite all the downsides of being public. So he said that just a month ago. When he says something like this, it's been in the works. So this rumor, this report that SpaceX might go IPO next year, I think that's probably true. And then we'll figure out, how does Tesla shareholders participate?
So, but I do want to try to figure out some way for Tesla shareholders to participate in SpaceX. That would be very cool. I've been giving a lot of thought to how to give people access to SpaceX stock, because I do want supporters to have SpaceX stock, but there's this sort of 2,500 shareholder threshold for, before you become a de facto public company. But I don't know, maybe at some point Tesla, maybe at some point SpaceX should become a public company, despite all the downsides of being public.
I was looking for us in the audience, Herbert, because we were second row right behind the board. These are not reserved seats, by the way, but Cyberbulls did get good seating at the event. No, it's a very exciting. Elon has always talked about Tesla investors. If you've been through it for the last, call it 12 or plus years, it's been great, actually, to be honest with you. But there's been these periods of time where it's been extremely tumultuous, and he's always talked about making sure he takes care of his Tesla shareholders, because quite frankly, it's funded a lot of the things that he's gone off and done. Now, he's built those things with his employees, but his investors are behind that. And of course, he has a cadre of many investors in his private companies as well. And essentially, he is continuing to earn the title and the recognition of being the greatest capital allocator of our time. And history will, I believe, show this as well. For all the noise and all the FUD and like, oh, I found this one thing that Tesla did wrong or Elon said that it was wrong. When the results are looked at in isolation of the original SpaceX investment, the original Tesla investment, the original Neuralink investment, the original XAI investment, and they look at how these companies have multiplied over a 5 and 10 year trajectory, there will probably be nothing like it from one CEO pulling all of those things together. So history will paint this kindly. We will continue to confuse ourselves, and both in the fintech community and the political community and the tech community continue to debate endlessly about what Elon is doing, but history will have the proper perspective, I believe.
And the good news for Tesla investors is that we can't invest in SpaceX yet, but he said that he'll figure out a way. But two, it almost doesn't matter to some extent because all of his companies are converging. So what SpaceX is trying to do, and he'll explain some more, AI-based data centers, Tesla has a huge part. So just as we're part of Muskonomy, all of this, right? Neuralink is going to help the robots, Optimus, parts of the robot to be able to be part of that whole, helping people replace body parts if needed. So here's the valuation by SpaceX, according to ARK Invest. They are valuing it at $2.5 trillion by 2030. So if it's $800 billion now, it'll be like 2 or 3 times. And then this is their base case is 2.5, their bear case is 1.7, their bull case is 3.1. The probability that SpaceX Enterprise will be 3.1 or more in 2030 is 25%. 25%. Okay. So this is what Kathy Wood said. They collaborated with an organization called Mach 33. ARK Invest open source is SpaceX model, the only open source model in the market. So if I'm not mistaken, we should help put into perspective the massive opportunities even before the solar-powered data centers in space. And Elon, replied to her. She said, a major additional factor should be considered. Satellites with localized AI compute, where just the results are beamed back, just the results of AI compute, beamed back from just the data, from low latency, sun-synchronous orbit, will be the lowest cost way to generate AI bit streams in less than 3 years. This language is just so precise. I guess what he's saying is that space-based AI data centers is going to become the lowest cost than to generate AI information than the Terra-based. And by far the fastest way to scale within 4 years. Because if you're trying to build a data center on Earth, it's so hard to find these electrical power. You need to find power plants, nuclear power plants, all that.
Cooling.
Cooling. 1 megaton per year of satellites with 100 kilowatts per satellite yields 100 gigawatts of AI added per year. This is crazy numbers with no operating or maintenance cost, cooling, energy, connecting via high bandwidth lasers to the Starlink constellation. You're getting your energy from the sun. You don't need as much cooling because you got to use the space to do that. And then using the Starlink constellation to transfer the data. The level beyond that is constructing satellite factories on the moon. Satellite factories on the moon, lunar-based, and using the factories. The factories will be on the moon so that you can deploy these AI data centers across near the sun in the space. Using mass driver electromagnetic railgun to accelerate AI satellites to lunar escape velocity. So I guess because
this is like a cannon. Think of this like a cannon
Earth,
on the moon.
You need a rocket, but on the moon, because you don't have that issue to get, you can just shoot it out. I don't know. Yeah. This is crazy. That scales to 1 or 10 terawatt per year of AI, enables non-trivial progress towards becoming a Kardashev 2 civilization. Brett Winton said, yes, we plan to update this work. presumably
electronic
SpaceX would own or
work.
operate. Probable Tesla. See, SpaceX would operate the compute array, right? Of course. Tesla is the chip supplier. This is where the terafab comes in. And by the way, Brian Wang said that he calculated it in an AI data center. 70% of the cost of that is the chips. So Tesla's actually going to make the most, it's going to generate the most value out of this. XAI, of course, is one of the customers. So then Elon said, once there are lunar factories on the moon, robots and mass drivers on the moon, such that the entire loop is closed, the system probably decouples from conventional currencies and operates autonomously in watts and tonnage. I don't know what that means. And you said, whole new meaning of localization of supply chain. I love it. Yeah. Meaning that the supply chain is now on the moon. Everything's like you're not just, you created your supply chain in another country and you localize all in that country. Great, smart. Now you don't have to do the boats and you don't have to, here it's like everything's on the moon.
I remember sitting with my team and putting together ramp plans, and I really expected them to be on the ball of like, okay, what's the transit time from a port in, near Beijing to the US, and what are the different chartered flights? What are the different times? What are all those time windows? We should be able to know, like, come on, you have to know this really quickly. And now I could see in a couple of years, like, okay, what is the outbound time to the moon? Because they've got a shortage. How do we get them parts? And what's the outbound time for them to shoot a final product via railgun into space and get it into final distribution? And how long does it take from it exiting the railgun to being fully operable and up and running? So these data centers have to be functional and configured and then turn themselves on. It's just all these different things they have to think through. So like I said, if you think that we're done with AI, and if you think there's a bubble, this is happening. And SpaceX and Starlink are, quite frankly, a lot of people are going to have to work through them, because there's not many tickets to space right now, and there's not many comms going from space down to Earth. Now, the Europe is working on a solution. Amazon or Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin company, I should say, is working on their solution for satellite comms. So there will be competition, but I think the leads are going to be measured in years, not months. And it's a very exciting time. There's tremendous convergence. If you're Elon, this is why you see him, there's other people that have just hung it up and have decided to do other things. These are the things that are driving him to get to that next level.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if others do this. They should. Everybody should do this. The market is so massive that they can have 100 competitors and it's not enough for everybody. But this is why, even no matter what you think of Elon, if you want to make money, consider investing in Elon. He thinks big. And then you and I have discussed this so many times. People invest in Tesla and they go, oh, okay. So they have a car company. Let's see how that does in 5 years. Oh, they're now doing autonomy. Okay, fine. And then they've got robots. Okay. Then they go, okay, what's going to become 5 years, 10 years? Oh, I see it. No, dude. Every 2 years, Elon's going to announce something big. And here it is. It's AI data centers. And it's so massive. It's so giant. First of all, data centers in general. And then now Tesla's going to make terafabs. Tesla's going to make the chips. And that is, think NVIDIA. Think bigger than NVIDIA. Think 1,000 times bigger than NVIDIA. So, because this is the inference chips and the training chips.
And they don't have to wait for their terafab to come up. This could be Colossus 4 for XAI. This could be, okay, you're doing Colossus 2 right now. You've got to do a Colossus 3 that's much bigger and that's probably terrestrial, but maybe Colossus 4 is operating in space. And you've heard Alphabet talk about it. You've heard everybody's all of a sudden everybody's gonna be talking about, I got to get a data center in space. And you saw these stupid articles about Sam Altman starting a space company. I mean,
no, of course. Think about it. I know you have.
Yeah, but I mean,
if you're Sam Altman, you have OpenAI, and you're trying to create the largest data centers, and then now you go, oops, actually, you're right. Data centers are better and cheaper and larger in space. How do I do it? And this is where Elon cheekily said, this is where it's handy to have a space rocket company.
Yeah, it's also handy to have Elon Musk. There's only him. So a lot of these companies better be looking to partner and acquire pretty quickly. I think you're going to see that in the humanoid space too. My prediction is you're not going to have these smaller startup companies last too long by themselves, because companies are going to realize the potential of these things, but it is not a given that all of this is going to work. You need a lot of things to be true for this to work. So, but it's exciting. Remember, with all this talk about everything in space, we still have to build the hundreds of millions of humanoid bots, all over the world, geo-positioned. So there's still a lot of work on Earth to do while we're planning this.
Yeah, well, I mean, Optimus is so critical for now AI data centers on space and the moon, and of course in Mars. So that this is this and chips. These are things he's been thinking about,
and that's where energy. We stopped
Fridays
talking about,
and his Saturdays.
Yeah, we stopped talking about energy, Herbert. But I mean, we have a real issue with load generation for all these data centers, and just in general, China is, I think, got 3 or 4 times the amount of output that we're doing. When I look at some of the latest data, I don't know how some of this is even measured, but so batteries, Tesla's in the middle of that as well. Both partner capacity, creating their own capacity, and of course their integration work that they're doing with the Mega Pack, the Mega Block. Just stationary storage is going to be a huge piece of elevating utilization of all this load generation that's needed for all these data centers. So he's in the center of all of this.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you so much, Jeff. Appreciate your background. And again, I enjoyed the conversation with you, and I'm sure the audience did as well. Follow Jeff on the Jeff Lutz on X. Thanks.
Thank you.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.